getting this head to the way it looks now. I've added leather to the inside because this part was white and I wanted it to be black. This marking here, originally SueCreations had, just sort of painted it on, which is fine. It still showed up really well. When I first got it, I was really happy. A couple months later, after I made the video, which I took down, the seams started coming out and pieces of it were starting to fall apart. The markings here, there were supposed to be markings here and here top, so I added leather markings. And I actually wanted the eyes painted white. But they weren't painted white, they were left unpainted, and I added just a weird little design for one eye. His nose is leather. He's supposed to be a mishmash of other creatures. He's got bear paws, he's got a fox head, he's got a deer antler, which was not on the reference sheet that I drew. And that's on me. I was actually in a hurry to give a reference because it was my first fursuit head. And $500 for this. And it's lasted me a really long time. It's just that some of the seams are coming out and some of the, like the eyes down here, it's ripping and tearing. So I had to hot glue it and push the muzzle in more. I actually tried to find her DeviantArt account again, just to, see if anyone else commissioned her. Oh, accidental boop, I'm sorry. And there was one person who joined my Discord, and they had a bird persona, and they had the same problems I had. And all the other people who have commissioned her have given pretty much the exact same response. It's hard to breathe because the mouth is sewn shut. So you have to breathe out of the eyes, which, like this panda, mouth open, so that's pretty cool. And I can see right through here really well. Sort of, but still, really well. Another thing they complained about was that SueCreations never really replied to you within a timely manner. And I noticed that as well. I know that they're from Norway and that packages will take a really long time coming from a different country. There's some leeway on that date because of how far away they live. And it was usually weeks in between replies, so I was getting nervous. It was my first head. The person that I talked to on Discord as well, they were like, hey, they're not replying to me. Getting a lot of reference photos that aren't showing me how well or how far they've gotten on the commission. They said they would get to me by the time that I would go to the con. And they were really, really excited because they wanted to wear the bird head at their very first con. But they couldn't wear it. Feather paws that they commissioned as well didn't come until way after the convention had already passed. So they were disappointed, but they understood. But I felt bad for them. Especially since her account was deactivated. All in all, the reviews and the one I'm giving her now have been neutral, just okay. And I think they did an alright job of color matching. I really like the color of Dr. Elis fur. Yeah, it's like a blue dog. I know, that's basic. I was hoping for a little bit more green, but the reference drawing that I gave her was kind of vague, very lightly shaded, so it made sense that she was like, okay, this is the color you want. And I'm like, not really, but what I gave you was insufficient at best. It was just a very quick 2-minute colored pencil drawing that I was like, okay, here, do this. Please, I've never had a mask before, I don't know what I'm doing. I didn't properly flesh out my reference. So that's my fault. And I would want to say that my review for SueCreations is also just kind of neutral. I'm going to wear Eli for as long as he lasts, and I'm going to learn to patch him up. Because if I don't, he's going to keep falling apart and stuff. The next story is that Dr. Eli pulled himself from the grave, and he gave himself a frontal lobotomy, which is supposedly supposed to remove all of the emotions, a more neutral person, and less of an excitable, angry kind of person. I think if I remember correctly from what my choir teacher told me, the bottle in front of me, frontal lobotomy, bottle in front of me, frontal lobotomy, that it was supposedly used the mentally ill way back when.
So this is one of the holes. There's one right near the jaw. There's another one in pretty much the exact same spot where the cheek meets the muzzle. The head strap that is right here, I have hot glue to the back because the head itself would slip down over my face till eventually I just had to keep dragging it back up and walking with my head over, with my hands over my head. So I had to move the strap so that it would better sit on my head without falling off. Here's another seam right near the ear that has a nice hole. Close-up of the additions. Just because it is open, I might add stuff to make it so that the jaw moves whenever I move my jaw. And here's a hole that I had to patch in with some hot glue and some white colored tape because that was a hole. This was falling apart as well, so that was another hole. I actually patched some of the holes with the leather straps. So they have a dual purpose. Not only did they make the markings old band-aids that Eli put on himself to keep his body parts together, it also just looks kind of interesting. So patch the holes and look in. I mean, he does look a little bit more dead with his tongue hanging out, so I'm not upset with that, and I still really like it. It's just the little things about it that could be changed. And yeah, I need to brush him. My cat's sad because he can't play with the bunny. By play with the money, I mean eat the bunny.
So it turns out that FursuitReview.com or whatever is actually reviews left on Fur Affinity, where she apparently goes by Dancing Ragdolls, which was also down in the bottom right-hand corner of all her SueCreation fursuit heads and paws, etc. So she's been going by that name for a pretty long time. Is that better? Is this angle better? How about this one? But I'm sure that even though with the neutral/okay reviews that she's getting, you know, there's nothing else really bad. Maybe she got better. Hey, Penny. This is my kitty. His name is Penny. He is my black kitty. He gives me head boop. Oh, sure, you'll head boop the panda, but as soon as I put Eli on, you're like, oh, dog, I hate it.